This is episode 210 of the Super League pod, and that number is 30 fewer than the number of days between Hull FC wins, but all that's forgotten as the curse is lifted and history was made in the snidest of ways. Plenty on that to come, plus your usual dose of news, Super League fan reviews, results from across the leagues, and a quiz that really twists the knife from Sarah. Steady yourselves, it's SLP time. Hello everyone, it's episode 210 of the Super League pod. The curse has been lifted and we are joined this week by Hull fan Sarah. Sarah, Hull has won a game when a Hull fan co-host has been on the show. How's that?
I know, it's good. Wow. Very good.
Well, welcome back anyway. We haven't spoke to you since the season preview, so it'll be good to have a little bit of a catch-up. For those new listeners, obviously we've just said Sarah's a Hull fan, a home and away Hull fan, and I'm a home and away Wigan fan, and so we might have some fun as this show goes along, most of it at my expense. It is episode 210. This episode is sponsored by Dr. Bob Phillips in support of Candlelighters. Now, Candlelighters is a great charity. They support families facing children's cancer in Yorkshire. You can go to candlelighters.org.uk to find out more about what this charity does, where they work, and also to help support them and make a donation to support the important work that great charity does. So, and you know, if the great Dr. Bob is telling us that it's a children's cancer charity worth supporting, then it most definitely is. So please do go to candlelighters.org.uk. We've got a few things to go through this week, really, Sarah. But I think what we should start with before we get into some other bits, let's start with a quick catch up with you and our friends at Might and Warriors Juniors.
Yep.
To see how things are going there. So remind people or let new people know about why there's an interest from the Super League pod in Might and Warriors, and then give us a little bit of a feel for how things are starting in 2019.
Okay, so Joshua plays for Might and Warriors under 10s. He's been there for a few years now. They're still in their winter training at the minute. And this season they'll be going up to playing 11-a-side matches, and they'll be playing with a lot more of the rules. But actually they're coming on really, really well. And tonight Joshua came out with Trainer of the Week, which was really good. It's really, really boosted his confidence a lot. So, that was really nice. Apparently one of the other parents had commented on how well he was playing as well. So, that was good.
That's great stuff. So Joshua, your son, he's do they have positions now at this age group? Is it sort of where you start to get a bit more structure in the play?
Yeah, so Joshua is a half-back.
Well, he's going to learn how to kick drop goals then, isn't he?
He is going to have to learn how to kick drop goals, yeah. So this year they are allowed to kick. Last year they were allowed to put a grubber in on the last tackle. This year they're allowed to kick whenever they want. And Joshua did say tonight that it's good that the players are learning on the last tackle to make sure he gets the ball.
Confidence and arrogance. That's what a good halfback needs.
Yeah, and Joshua has those.
And often they say that they need good talking skills and willingness to kind of tell the people around them what they should be doing. And Joshua demonstrates that on and off the rugby field.
He does indeed. And the good news is that they had quite a few injuries a little while ago. Alfie broke his hand. He's one of their prop forwards. And they thought he'd also broken his ankle, but he hadn't broken his ankle, so that's good.
So the good news is that he's not broken his ankle, not that he had an injury, just to be clear.
Yeah, no, and he's out of his cast, and he was at training again tonight. And Lewis, one of their wingers, who came in at the back end of last season, he had a nasty hand injury, and that's healed. So hopefully we're just getting to the point now where they're starting to arrange a few friendly matches, and then the season normally starts beginning of April or end of March.
Excellent. So next time we have you on, we'll probably be around about that start of the season, so we'll hear hopefully what's gone on in a few friendlies before then.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Nice to hear that progress is being made and that Joshua's taking full charge of that team. Okay, so we've got a few bits to go through in the shout-outs here before then we'll get to the news and then, the main part of the show, which is round 3 of Super League and your guys, the listeners, fan reviews of those games. When we do the news, don't expect us to spend too much time on Widnes because we dropped an SLP short on that story yesterday, Sunday. We've got results from the Championship League One and a fan review from the community game as well, which is always welcomed. Then we'll finish off with a quiz that you've done for me, Sarah. So I'm hoping that you're not going to be. I just feel like the knife's going to get twisted on that. To be honest.
I don't know why you could think that at all, Mark.
So there we go. Right, something to call out for people is that we're planning on doing one of our SLP debate shows soon, so the SLP Debate Club. So we're planning on opening that up. I don't know if people have been following Paul McNally, who used to work for Salford. Now he's out there in the normal sort of world, but he's certainly getting his opinions down from his time working in Rugby League. So he's written a few opinion pieces on ticketing and that sort of stuff. Have a search on the internet for it. For Paul's pieces, have a read through them. We're going to get Paul on and have a bit of a debate, really. So please do, people, let us know if you're interested in joining that debate, particularly if you have a respectful, different opinion to Paul's on the ticket pricing and marketing strategies that have kind of fundamentally pinned down his pieces so far. We're hoping, if one or two people can jump on board who've got some interesting counterpoints to Paul's arguments, that would make for a lively and interesting show. So please get in touch on that, and just sending your views anyway. If you don't want to be on the show, read those pieces and tweet us your views or send them on Facebook, and then we can slip those into the show anyway to help us give some structure around that. It'll probably be over, well, to be honest, Sarah, I don't know when it's going to be at the moment because I'm really busy, but we'll see. It'll be over the next couple of weeks. Paul said he's generally quite free at the moment, so that should be okay. Shout outs. Do you want to give the first couple of shout outs, Sarah, to people who've given some donations?
Thanks to Paul O'Brien for his donation this week and for being part of the SLP show we did in challenging times for the club he loves and supports, the Widnes Vikings. Thanks to Paul and everyone else for the pictures of them sporting the SLP hats too. Yeah,
that's been pretty cool. If you go hashtag SLP hat, I think, SLP hat on Twitter, you'll see a few of our listeners wearing their goods.
They're really comfy.
We haven't had one of you on there yet, I don't think, Sarah, but I'm sure.
You have?
Oh, right, okay. It's got warm though, hasn't it? It's got warm.
Yeah.
I couldn't wear mine on Sunday because it's got warm.
I know. I did wear them. We got back from our holiday and I'd had the heating turned down and it was a bit chilly when I got back, so I did wear it that evening.
Good stuff. David Parley's also made a donation, so thanks to David. The hat will be on the way soon. Listen to the end of the show, guys, or go onto our blog post, superleaguepod.com, and see more information about how you can get yourselves a hat. I've got a little bit of a shout out as well for North Brew Co in Sheffield, and John, who works there, who's a listener to this show, sent over a bottle of their gin for me as a nice gift. So me and Emma tried a bit of that on Saturday night. It was very good. I drank a bit more of it than I'd realised the next morning when I went downstairs. But really nice. So it's Sheffield Dry Gin. It was North Brew Co.
Yeah, I saw Emma tweeting about it.
Yeah, they run some pubs as well in Sheffield. The Forum, I think, is one of their pubs, which is quite a bit studenty, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah. So check those guys out if you do live in Sheffield. Drink their beers, drink their gin. I think they've got a bit of a range going on actually of stuff, and I think they brew round the back of where a couple of their pubs are as well. So do check those guys out if you're in or around Sheffield anytime soon. And that's the sort of opening to the show finished with a few shout outs to you great listeners out there. We're now going to move on to news from around the world of Rugby League.
Okay, so news from around the world of Rugby League. We're going to start with the news that Widnes Vikings have been deducted 12 points after going into administration. They face liquidation if suitable investment is not found by, I think it's the end of this week, in fact, isn't it?
It is now, yeah.
Yeah, a proposed takeover fell through last Tuesday, and Sunday's game against Sheffield Eagles was postponed. Check out the SLP short number 34 as Mark spoke to Paul O'Brien, the Widnes fan, to see what they have to say about it all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Paul was able to bring in the fan view and the emotion of all of that, and thanks to Paul for speaking to us about it, really. And I did quite a lot of reading out club statements that they posted during the week. We kind of did a bit of a timeline of the last week. So yeah, if you like listening to me read out statements, or you like hearing fan views on stuff, which is what we like to give you, the second part, not the first part, then do check out that SLP short. Okay. Did you have a view on that, Sarah, or shall we just?
I just think it's so sad, and I'm afraid I put a lot of the blame at James Rule's door.
Well, everyone knows where his door is now, which is not necessarily a positive, but still, he definitely deserves some sort of comeuppance, if not, maybe not violent threats. But I really hope they find something that has been done untoward that they can pin on these people, or if he ever tries to be involved in sport again, because you guys have been stung by James Rule as well, haven't you, at Hull FC in the past? And
he screwed up big time with us. So fielding ineligible players, not getting contracts signed, the drugs issue, salary cap issue.
It just seems like we don't want the guy around our sport anymore. So hopefully we never have to see him darken the door of any rugby league club again.
Really hope so.
Okay, former England Rugby Union centre Luther Burrell will switch codes to join Super League side Warrington Wolves after leaving Northampton Saints. Burrell, who's 31, will join the Wire from Saints on the 1st of July in a deal until 2021. He had in the past won 15 caps for England in Rugby Union and made 158 appearances for Northampton since joining from Sale back in 2012. So he's been quite a successful and relatively high-profile player in the past. We've had a few listener views in on this one. It's caused a bit of a stir. Do you want to take us through the first one of those, and we'll alternate?
Yes, so Brian Davies says, be surprised if he doesn't become a star of the game. I've never heard of him, but a 31-year-old Union winger Brian Davies says, be surprised if he does become a star of the game. Never heard of him, but a 31-year-old Union winger doesn't sound promising. Has some RL experience, so potential, but if he was only good enough for Union when young, why should he be good enough for League now? At least it's a story about a player for a change.
I love that. If he was only good enough for Union when he was young, why should he be good enough for League now? Tom Andrews on a similar vein. He's never heard of him either. He says, never heard of him as I don't watch Union, but if he doesn't now have the poshest name in Rugby League, at me with a posher one. I haven't really I'd not read through these properly, so I haven't come up with one, but I tell you who might be a man who's up to that sort of challenge, who tends to know the posher names around the game. That's our friend Tim G. So I'm going to set Tim G a challenge for next week's episode to come back with some posher names, and all you listeners out there as well, if you can think of posher names. I mean, there's plenty of double-barreled ones. I think James Woodburn Hall is quite a posh-sounding name to me.
Yeah. To me, it's only the Luther that that sounds posh.
Yeah, well, I think we've got a couple more. So do you want to take us through what Tom Eckley had to say?
Yeah, Tom Eckley says, very smart bit of business when you think of the media exposure in exchange for 18 months of no salary cap. Personally think he could be a very good back rower. Will need to be convinced if he's replacing Atkins. Either way, I can't help but feel the sport as a whole is picking up momentum this year. Hope it continues.
Yeah, and Carson says good for the Wire salary cap, and it will be a good test for other clubs if a code change is still possible in the modern game. So Burrell grew up around Huddersfield, if I'm right. So he did play league as a junior, which does mean that it's not a completely foreign game to him. He played in outside centre, I think, when he was in Rugby Union. He played for England in a World Cup before. I've seen him in international games, and I don't watch many of them, so he definitely must have played in a World Cup for England. So, there's talent and ability there. Where he would fit into a Rugby League side, you would think, centre or second row would be the places to see. Maybe, I don't know if he'd have the hands for a second row, so for a centre, sorry. So maybe we'll see. It'll be an interesting one, but I think it's a calculated gamble because it's